And let's start recording. Okay, good afternoon. This is Susan Schaefer with Maria Stephanopoulos, and we are taking a virtual vacation today to Alaska. Just to let you know what take a virtual vacation is, we're all cooped up. We're going a little crazy. We need some escapism. People aren't traveling right now, so we're traveling virtually. This has been a joint effort between Maria Stephanopoulos at Ingenious Travel, myself, Susan Schaefer at Ships and Trips Travel, Barbara Oliver at Altogether Now Travel, and Gail Sherman at Wine Lovers Travel. If you have any questions about travel in general, about Alaska, after we've gone through this presentation and the Q&A at the end, you can reach out to any of the four of us, and we are going to be more than happy to answer your questions and then eventually plan your trip to Alaska. So we have two presenters today. The first is Tia, and then that will be followed up by Tracy. We're going to start with Tia first. So Tia, you can go ahead and share your screen, and then we'll let you take over, pass it off to Tracy, and then we'll follow up with Q&A.
Okay, so here we go. All right, you see my screen? Insider tips for the best of South Central Alaska?
Yep, we're good to go.
Oh, excellent. So real quick, I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope our quick little video works, but we made this, as Susan was saying, we are all kind of cooped up a little bit right now, and so we've made this fun video that just says Alaska and Anchorage is here, so enjoy. So that is the beautiful city of Anchorage at the very end, and we will wait. We are starting to open up again here in Anchorage. We're going into phase 3 and 4 of our reopening, and we look forward to welcoming you guys when you're ready to travel. So again, my name is Tia Fraley. I work for Visit Anchorage. So we're the destination marketing organization for South Central Alaska. So I am here to help Susan and Maria and Barbara and Gail make sure you get the perfect Alaska vacation that you're dreaming of. So again, I'm a lifelong Alaskan, so I've lived here my entire life and been able to play in my backyard every day I can. So especially nowadays that we have a little more time at home, I've been hitting the trails and the fish just started running. So I'm excited to go out fishing this weekend. So I love all seasons here in Alaska, whether it's, you know, hiking in the Chugach or going out fishing in Prince William Sound or going skiing down at Alyeska Resort. So again, I'm a local that loves to talk about her hometown. So let's get going. Real quick, our website. I point out Anchorage.net is a great resource to kind of start dreaming of your Alaska vacation. We have great blogs on there. We have some great recipes, but itinerary ideas that you can bring to your travel trade advisor of what you want to see or do. I always say make a wish list of what you want to see and do, and then bring that to your travel advisor, and then they can put that all together for you. And then of course, if you're on social media, make sure to visit our Facebook or Instagram, because we're constantly putting photos of what's happening here. And what is happening is the babies are being born. So lots of baby bears and moose that people are posting that are happening in their front yard. So really fun to follow us on those social media handles. So again, also on our website, you can order our visitor guide and our restaurant guide. So again, you can start thumbing through those, you know, to have something in hand and look through and, you know, earmark which ones you're interested in doing. So please visit our website again at Anchorage.net, and you can get your own set of visitor guide and our restaurant guide. And this is a copy of our restaurant guide. So what I'm going to cover is just kind of 5 tips, 5 insider tips as a local, as when you're starting to plan and dream about your Alaska vacation. Here's what I would like to say to you. So again, Alaska has been started, we're the 49th state. We been, I would like to say, we've been social distancing since 1959 because we have so much space up here. So of course, when you look at a map, most of them are flat, right? We're so used to not being able to put Alaska truly where we're located. We are not off the coast of the Baja of California. We are actually up and connected to Canada. And then where Anchorage is located, we're in the south central area of Alaska. So I say you have to give yourself some time when you come to Alaska to really see it, because we are called the Great Land because we have all this land. Like I said, we've been social distancing since 1959. We're about 1/5 the size when you put us over the lower 48. So lots of areas. And the best way to talk about Alaska is to actually to break us down into the 5 different regions. We're kind of like 5 different states here. So southeast, as you see in the purple area, I'll put my cursor over there. That's where a lot of our cruises go. So if you are looking for a 2020 vacation, a majority of our cruises have canceled, but they will be back in 2021. So this might be the year you look to fly into Anchorage, into South Central here. And then maybe do a land package. And we're going to kind of talk about that today. And again, one of these lovely travel advisors can put that together for you. So South Central is where Anchorage is located. Anchorage is the largest city that we have here in Alaska. We have about 300,000 people that live here. And then all of Alaska, we only have 700,000. So you see that the majority of people live in Anchorage, which gives you a ton of activities, and you have that city life, and be able to use Anchorage as kind of a hub and spoke for your vacation. And we'll get into that. And of course, the orange area is the interior of Alaska. That is where Denali National Park. You want to go see that tallest peak in North America, and then travel up to Fairbanks. And Fairbanks is kind of known for the gold rush area. And if you can go across the Arctic Circle, they do have day trips from Fairbanks that'll take you across the Arctic Circle, because the Arctic is where a lot of our Alaska natives live. And Utqiagvik is the northernmost city that you can visit in Alaska. So maybe you want to actually go into the northern city and see how our Alaskans still live off the land today. And then of course that southwest area, this is where a lot of our fresh seafood comes from. So like, I'm sure you've seen maybe showed the deadliest fish that is done here. And so we get a lot of crab and halibut and salmon and all that delicious seafood coming from the Southwest. But what I like to say is from Anchorage, you can visit 2 of the national parks that are located in the Southwest, which is Katmai, located over here, and Lake Clark. So if you want bear viewing and fishing, amazing places. So can you see all 5 regions in one trip? Yes. But you're going to need some time. Again, you'll take a cruise that takes about 7 days, and then you'll need a couple days in each of these cities as you travel along. But it is possible to see all 5 regions of Alaska in one trip, and you can ask your travel advisor on how to do that. So, of course, the most common is Southeast, South Central, and interior on the cruises and cruise tours. So tip number 2, maybe you are looking at coming to Alaska in 2020, how to get here. So I always refer to it as planes, trains, and automobiles. And then I'll talk a little bit about cruises, because that will open up and is very important to tourism here in Alaska. Hopefully you guys caught the reference. That is a 1987 funny little travel movie on that. See it if you need a good movie, it's good. Okay, so Southeast. Again, this is where the cruises take place. And we always say when you're looking at a cruise and you have more than 7 days, to look at a cruise that comes across the Gulf of Alaska, right? So right here, you're coming across the Gulf of Alaska and into the ports of Whittier or Seward. If you leave from Seattle, most likely you'll do what's called an inside passage cruise. That'll keep you here in the Southeast, which is amazing. It's the price tag is right. But if you can come across and come into Whittier and Seward and do a land package, then you really feel like you're seeing more of Alaska. So highly encourage you to look at those cruises for 2021. But how about 2020 when you want to fly into Anchorage? We have the Ted Stevens International Airport, located just 6 miles from downtown Anchorage, so easy to fly in and get to your hotel quickly. In the summertime, we have more than 240 flights daily. Of course, for this summer, that will probably not be quite as many as we recover from the COVID. So we'll see what it is, but Alaska Airlines is our largest carrier that does service Anchorage and the Fairbanks area. Those are our two major airports. And then once you get here, the great way to travel is by the Alaska Railroad, as you see this beautiful photo along the Seward Highway. But I'm going to let Tracy talk a little bit more about their service, but just know they are open year-round in our state transportation train here in Alaska. And of course, maybe you want to think of a self-drive. You want to maybe keep your family together and you fly into Anchorage and you can do some day trips on the Alaska Railroad, and then you want to travel to one of those other regions, maybe renting an RV or a camper van or a car and be able to explore our highways. When I say highways, I mean like we have 6 here in Alaska, so it's really easy to drive. And when you leave Anchorage, there's only 2. There's one that heads south on the Seward Highway, which we just saw, and then we have one that heads north on the Glen Highway. So again, super easy to navigate our highways here, but all these highways lead to adventure. Tip number 3, you're probably wondering what the weather is like and can I sleep in that daylight that you guys get in the summertime? All right, so let's start with winter real quick because we are a year-round destination. So December is when winter solstice happens. So you can see here, December 21st is actually our darkest day, so we'll still get 5.5 hours. But you can see our average temperature is about 25 because where Anchorage is located, we're more of a maritime climate. And again, when you break us up into those 5 different regions, each of those regions have different climates. So here, we're very protected. So that's December, so not too bad, depending on where you live in the world. But then let's look at that summertime. Summertime, June 21st. That is summer solstice here, so that's when we get the most daylight. We'll get about 22 hours of where that sun is up, and then the other 2 hours are civil twilight. So it's just the sun pretty much goes down and then pops back up. But then you can see our average temperature. Again, this is average, so 63 to 65 in that summertime months, but we are known to hit 80s. And according to our weather lady, Jackie, she says that we're expecting a very warm summer this year. So I always say, make sure to pack your summer wear. Make sure to pack some shorts, your sunglasses, short sleeve shirts, and dress in layers, because one day it can be 65 and the next day it can be 85, and we're more of a dry heat here. So when it feels like 65, or if it says 65, it will feel like 75. So it's about 10 degrees warmer than what that is. So be prepared for our beautiful summer days here. I always like to show what it looks like on a summer night here. So this is downtown Anchorage in the background, and this is one of our many trails that we have. And this is it at 8 p.m. in the summer. And this is that same trail in the wintertime. This is like at 3 in the afternoon. So a little bit difference with that sunlight, but you can see our trails are open, and our city is open year-round and is beautiful for all the different reasons, whether it's summer or our winter or aurora season, which I am going to focus a little bit on our aurora season and winter because Alaska's got some pretty fantastic northern lights. So our season lasts from the middle of August all the way to the middle of April. So if you are looking for a late fall trip, beautiful time to come chase those lights. But they are the most active in the months of February and March. So maybe for early 2021, you might want to come to Alaska and explore those northern lights, hit our slopes. This is Alyeska Ski Resort, only 35 minutes from downtown Anchorage. Beautiful skiing. You can see the mountain ranges around you. And the best thing is we start at sea level, so there's no elevation to get used to. And of course, at Alyeska Resort, not only is there downhill skiing, but there's cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and activities such as we call them snow machines here in Alaska, but snowmobile trips. So I left from Girdwood on this trip and went to Spencer Glacier. So the only way to get to Spencer Glacier in the wintertime is by a snow machine, and in the summertime by the Alaska Railroad, which Tracy will tell us about. But you can see this is one of the icebergs that fell off, that calved off of Spencer Glacier. And as you know, when you look at icebergs, you only see 10% of them. So this is a massive one that we got to snow machine around, and then there's ice caves. So pretty magical here in the wintertime. And of course, dog sledding. These are the athletes of of Alaska and to dog sled with one of our mushers who's training for the Iditarod is a must do. And you can do that year round here in Alaska. So just a little different in the winter than it is on the summertime. But then you get to hold their puppies. They're training their dogs for, again, the Iditarod, and they want to socialize them. So if you can hold a puppy, it's the cutest ever, but I will tell you, they will not let you take them home. So I have tried. And of course, I keep mentioning the Iditarod. This is a huge race we have here. It is our one professional sport. It is always that first weekend in March. So we always do a ceremonial start to celebrate our mushers and the dogs who are the athletes, and it'll be that first Saturday in March. And we line downtown Anchorage, 4th Avenue with the snow, and they leave every 2 minutes. So there's music going on, there's free giveaways, there's our winter carnival going on. So really a fantastic time to come and visit us. All right, tip number 4, where to stay in Anchorage. So we get a lot of questions about downtown, midtown, what kind of hotels there are in Anchorage. So like I mentioned, fly into Anchorage, stay a couple nights, and use us as that hub and spoke so you can unpack for a little bit and then go out on all these adventures. So here you see is where the airport's located, so very convenient to fly in, and then you're in what we call Midtown Anchorage. So Midtown versus downtown. So downtown is going to take you 6 minutes. So this is the downtown area. Some people like to stay in downtown just because you're right in the heart of being able just to walk the city of Anchorage. So 2 of the hotels, there's lots of hotels downtown, but 2 popular ones are the Hilton Hotel and then the Hotel Captain Cook. The Hotel Captain Cook is on the right, the gold colored one. That is a locally owned and operated hotel, but you can see the views that you get for staying in downtown Anchorage. If you're looking for Midtown, our Midtown are going to be more of the flagship type hotels, such as the Hyatt Places, the Hilton Garden Inns, Home2 Suites. So they're going to offer that free parking and free breakfast, so a little bit lower price point. So if you're okay from not staying downtown, this is a great option to stay Midtown, and they do have free shuttles that take you to the downtown area. But if you want that nightlife and just be able to walk around in our city, then downtown is the place for you to stay. If you want to travel a little bit out of Anchorage, but is still part of Anchorage, is the Alyeska Resort. So this is that ski resort I was mentioning that you can ski in the wintertime, but they're also open in the summertime. Beautiful resort located in the town of Girdwood. In the summertime, you're going to do tons of hiking trails. You can take the tram up to the top and do a fine dining restaurant experience at 7 Glaciers. You're going to be looking for wildlife. So again, a year-round opened resort that we have here in Anchorage. All right, now we're going to talk about Anchorage itself. What to do, what to see, and how wonderful our city is. So this is the downtown, a shot of downtown. So you can see we have all the amenities that you want from a city, and then we're surrounded, and we have the Chugach Mountains as our playground, as our backyard, basically. So we have over 200 miles of trails in and around the Anchorage area, which makes us an award-winning trailside city. So whether you want to hike to one of the peaks, we have peaks all around that you can maybe go from up to like 4,000 feet, or maybe you just want to bring the kids or grandkids and run around in some of our state parks that are surrounding us and just be able to take in that fresh air that we have here. So again, a ton of trail systems in and around the Anchorage area. But how about anyone like to fish? That is one of my favorite activities to do here in the summertime. And like I said, the first run of salmons are in, so I'm planning to do that this weekend and hopefully catch a good king. But we do have a salmon string in the heart of Anchorage. So you can see in the background here, this is downtown Anchorage. Here's the Hotel Captain Cook I was mentioning. Here's the Hilton. You come down a couple blocks and you're at Ship Creek. So that's Ship with a P, and you can come wet a line, as we say. And over on the corner here, you can rent all the gear you need. So you don't even have to bring all your fishing gear. Dustin owns that, and he will give you the lures and what he calls the creek candy. That means whatever eggs that the salmon are biting on, and he will set you up. here we go. You can catch one of these yourself right in downtown Anchorage. That's a silver salmon. But of course, when you come to Alaska, you want to see the glaciers. We're known for our glaciers here. From Anchorage, we have 60 that you can visit within a 50-mile radius. So whether you want to fly over one, such as Knik Glacier here, or maybe you want to have a helicopter leave Anchorage and go land on a glacier so you can actually drink that glacier water and land on one. I've been able to do that. It's pretty spectacular. Or you might want to sit back and let the captain do all the driving and you can sip on a glacier margarita. We have dayboat cruises from Anchorage out of either Whittier or Seward, again, the same as our cruise ship ports. And you can take a cruise like this one right here in Prince William Sound where you see 26 different glaciers. So again, it just depends on how you want to experience our glaciers here. Maybe you're a little bit more adventurous and want to kayak to one. This is our friend Heather who works with Tracy at the Alaska Railroad. Again, this is at Spencer Glacier. So I showed you me on a snow machine at Spencer Glacier. This is that summertime adventure at Spencer Glacier that you can only get to by the Alaska Railroad. Or maybe you want to hike on one. So you can put on your crampons and get your trekking poles and go hike on one of our many glaciers. This is the Matanuska Glacier just north of Anchorage. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about shopping. What's so great about shopping is with Anchorage being the largest city, a lot of our Alaska natives from the different regions will come and sell their wares here. And this is a local artist from Kodiak who has a shop here in downtown Anchorage, and she's an artist, beautiful stuff. But the other best thing is that we have no sales tax. So if you're looking to buy a computer, we have an Apple store. If you're a big REI fan and want to buy new hiking boots, we have that here too. And again, you'll save because we have no sales tax. Another great place to go shopping is at one of our fairs and festivals that we have that happen during May through September. This being the largest, they did open last weekend. Again, with the new mandates, it has 300 vendors, but this year they have to kind of rotate between 50 to 75 each weekend. So if you are here on a Saturday and Sunday, I highly recommend checking out one of our markets and festival. And now I'm going to tempt you with some of the wonderful food we have here in Anchorage. So we're a very diverse city. A lot of people are surprised how diverse we are. We have 3 of the most diverse high schools in Alaska. So they speak over 300, or not 300, but 100 languages. Just our Alaska natives speak over 22 different dialects. So that definitely helps and ups our numbers there. But with that, our cuisine is amazing. So not only do we have that fresh seafood that I was talking about earlier, but we have like our salads, our farm to table salads because of our farmers north of Anchorage in the valley. And then we also have locally sourced meat. So depending on what your taste buds want, we have it here. So I'm going to show you a few more of the fine cuisines, whether it's having like on this bottom here, these are crab eggs Benedict. So we put crabs on those, and we got wonderful fresh scallops and fish tacos, and maybe even you want to try some duck. So we have duck over here. But I must say, you have to try one of our reindeer hot dogs. That is me. I have there's a hot dog cart right outside my office here in downtown Anchorage that sells these. And this is a very typical downtown shot of 4th Avenue. So my office is right behind the yellow umbrella, and it happens to be named Tia's hot dog stand, which I don't own, but I love to go visit her, or the red umbrella. But we have usually about 7 vendors along downtown Anchorage selling these hot dogs. And here in Alaska, we eat these for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you must try one of these. And of course, my other favorite way to wash down that hot dog is to have a great craft beer. If you are a craft beer fan like me, we have about 13 now in Anchorage. So it doesn't sound like much, but they're pretty amazing. One of their ingredients comes from our tap water, and our tap water is actually from a glacier, from Eklutna Glacier. So every beer has a little glacier water in them. This is 49th State, named after the 49th state of Alaska, but they are in downtown Anchorage, and you can see right now this gentleman's got a pint in his hand on one of their decks. They have 2 decks that overlooks Cook Inlet water and then overlooks our mountains. And this is one of our iconic mountains here. This is Mount Susitna, or what we call Sleeping Lady. So if you look at that mountain, it looks like a lady sleeping. And I would look up the story of Mount Susitna. It's pretty, the tale about her is pretty interesting. And here's a couple other of our brew pubs. So we have Glacier Brew House, Midnight Sun, and King Street, just to name a few. And we do have tours that leave in the afternoon that you can go to a tour to some of the different breweries. But maybe you're not into beer. We do also have some amazing Alaska craft Alaskan cocktails. So you can come learn how to make a gin and tonic Alaska style, or use one of our blueberry vodkas to make a Susitna soda. So amazing drinks that you can have here, or we have a lot of coffee too. So if you need a little caffeine, we have a ton of coffee as well. But then, of course, you want to meet the first Alaska people. So we have a lot of cultural experiences here in Anchorage. One is our Anchorage Museum, where you can go visit it. It's right in downtown Anchorage, and kind of learn the history, the science, and the art behind Alaska. And then if you want to go meet the Alaska Natives, a lot of them will come from those 5 different regions and work at the Alaska Native Heritage Center. So this is a place where you can come and meet and learn their dances and buy from our Alaska Natives. And then I have to mention Flight Seeing. So in Anchorage, we have what's called Lake Hood, which is the busiest seaplane airport in the world. In the summertime, they'll have over 500 takeoff and landings, because I mentioned we don't have a vast array of highways here. So the best way to get to some of our favorite spots is to actually go fly there. So whether you have an hour and a half to just go over the city, see the water, see the mountains, see the glaciers, see the wildlife, that's possible. Or maybe you want to fly out to one of our national parks. So you can fly out to 4 of the 8 national parks from Anchorage in a day. My favorite 2, well, I guess can't say favorite 2, but if you're really into the bears, like Susan is, I hear, you can fly out to Katmai or Lake Clark to go bear viewing and fishing. And then we also have Denali National Park that you can fly to if you don't have time to go visit it. And then Wrangell St. Alliance, that is the other one you'd fly out to and really get into the gold mining. And they have glaciers as large as the state of Rhode Island. And then our 5th national park that you can go to in a day from Anchorage is Kenai Fjords National Park, which is south of Anchorage, that you can take the train to and do a day boat cruise out of. So again, 5 national parks that you can visit in a day from Anchorage. And I have to mention, back to the bears, is you have to follow at Katmai. They do this big competition about the Fat Bear Week. And Holly was our champ this year, but the bears always come back to feed on the salmon there. And they have this fun competition in October. Just to show you real quick, this is Holly in July. This is Holly in September. So that is 2 months of eating salmon in Katmai. So I think all of us kind of feel that way with being hunkered down or sheltered at home, is trying not to look like Holly by the end of this. And of course, I have to mention our moose. We have about 1,500 moose that live in and around the Anchorage area. They are all having their babies right now, so it's super exciting time around here. So basically, if you see a car pulled over, normally that means the wildlife is being spotted. So in Anchorage, you're gonna get moose, you're gonna get bear, you're gonna get Dall sheep, you're gonna get mountain goats, you're gonna get beluga whales, eagles, ton of migratory birds. So again, look for a car being pulled over, or even the Alaska Railroad will stop the train when they see wildlife. So with that, I am going to pass it over to my dear friend Tracy with the Alaska Railroad, and she's going to tell you about all those wonderful day trips that we have here from Anchorage. And then as you continue north, how you can keep on going on that choo-choo train. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Tracy, I'm sending it over to you.
Passing the torch. Okay, well, thank you very much. My name is Tracy Zadra. I work for the Alaska Railroad, and I just want to say thank you very much for your interest in our state. On behalf of myself and Tia, we could talk more than 20 minutes, hours on end about how amazing our state is and how fortunate we both are to live here. Speaking of living here, I've lived here for over 30 years of my life. I love this state, its people, scenery, nature. I've been in the tourism industry since I was 19. So I've worked in the hotels, the trains, planes, and automobiles, as the movie she quoted earlier. So that's my life. I also drove a motor coach for 5 years up and down the highways, just sharing and guiding everything that people were able to experience outside the windows. So with that being said, I now work for the Alaska Railroad, and I will share my screen with you. I've got a beautiful presentation about our great train in Alaska. Let's see here. There it is. Okay. Oh, let me go back here. So with the Alaska Railroad, we've been operating in Alaska since 1923. A few things to know is we are the only train system in the entire state of Alaska that is a passenger service year-round. We travel all around the state, mostly to our most populated destinations and cities along the way. Our average speed is about 35 miles per hour, so we're not a bullet train, and we do not have any sleeper cars. We want you to stay awake and take in the beautiful scenery that our state has to offer. And that's pretty much a lot of the reasons people come up to our state, is to experience glaciers, wildlife, adventure, and so we want you to definitely partake in that. So you might be asking yourself, where is the Alaska Railroad located? Tia had mentioned that we are a very, very, very big state. And I will show you a rail belt map of our great state. So on the right-hand side, you'll notice a map key, and it's the shape of our state of Alaska. And there's a gold bar there. And the gold bar actually highlights where our Alaska Railroad tracks are located. So we are connecting south central portion of Alaska through the interior all the way up to Fairbanks, which is our northernmost terminus. And I'll talk a little bit about all of those destinations along the way as we get started. So we are a year-round transportation. Right now we just are moving into our summer mode season. And we consider our summer season to be mid-May through mid-September. It's our most popular time of year. And we think probably because it's the weather. Alaska gets a bad rap for being a very, very cold state, and it's absolutely not true. Depending on where you live, different times of the year, it can be pretty cold. But here in Anchorage, T and I love living in Anchorage, very mild temperatures. So we experience anything in the summer months from 70s, 80s, 90s, and we don't have any humidity here. So at 80 feels like a 90. So beautiful summer seasons. So with the summer, we have 4 daily departing summer trains heading in all different directions along our tracks, something for everyone. So I'll introduce those 4 daily departing trains to you. Our first one is our Coastal Classic train, and this is a very beautiful scenic train ride. All of our trains depart and arrive into Anchorage, our largest city. So this one departs Anchorage early in the morning and heads down the track, makes a stop in Girdwood. I'll talk a little bit about Girdwood later on. And then it veers off into some rugged territory into the cruise ship port town of Seward. This is a beautiful train ride. It's one of my favorites. If you want to think about Alaska, you think mountains, glaciers, wildlife, marine life, this is the train to definitely experience. It's just beautiful scenery. On the right, you've got the water. On the left, you've got rugged mountains. Beautiful opportunities to witness wildlife in their habitats, and everything on our train is narrated and guided. We're highlighting everything. So if you happen to nod off and take a nap, you'll be awakened right away with cheers of excitement that there's a bear and some cubs on the left side. We've got some beautiful, incredible scenery. Our first stop on this train is a stop in Girdwood. This is home to Mount Alyeska. It's one of our top ski resorts in Alaska, and it's the only one in the entire world that starts its ascent from sea level. Take a gondola ride up to the top, beautiful views of the valley and glaciers just clinging to the mountaintops. With the train, we take you into very remote, rugged, beautiful landscapes. Here is Bartlett Glacier. This is a glacier that can only be seen by air or by the train. So it's a really unique opportunity to see the true wilds of Alaska. With this train ride, we'll take you through 5 mountain tunnels with nature just enclosed all around you. And then just after 11 o'clock, we'll arrive into the cruise ship port town of Seward. Beautiful port to walk around. There's lots of things to do and see in Seward. Endless tours, zip lining. You can visit an Iditarod dog sled team's kennel. You can hold puppies. The Sea Life Center there is amazing. They take injured animals from the waters and rehabilitate them and return them back if they're healed and ready to do that. But it's a beautiful city to walk around in. But it seems the #1 tour that people want to experience is a glacier day cruise. And this is the opportunity to get closer than you ever could on a big cruise ship on a small one. You can feel the coldness of the glacier, the calving, and you've got that bonus of whales and marine life breaching the water. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. Seward is one of our cruise ship ports. We've got a great partnership with the cruise industry. We deliver guests to the cruise ships as well as those that are disembarking. We take them right back to Anchorage. So it's a great connection link to Anchorage. Our second summer train is something called our Glacier Discovery Train. So if you're coming to Alaska and glaciers are your focus, this is the train for you. It's a day trip train out of Anchorage, and you'll notice on the right-hand side, the map key there, it has a lot of different destination stops. This is a train where you can get off, experience a glacier activity from flight seeing to hiking to a glacier day cruise. Train will drop you off, come back around and pick you up and take you back to Anchorage. So lots of beautiful destinations along this route. One of our stops here is the Port of Whittier. This is another cruise ship port. We've got that great connection with the cruise line industry. For example, here's a Princess cruise ship. We're coming to drop off guests and pick up guests, take them back into Anchorage. Whittier is also a great place to experience a glacier day cruise. It's a little closer than getting down to Seward. You can get close to the glaciers there as well. Just a beautiful glacier experience around every bend. Another stop on this train is a destination called the Spencer Glacier Whistle Stop. And this is a special area that you can only get to by the train. You can't get here by car, by bicycle, nothing. It's only the train. We've got a special relationship with the U.S. Forestry Service that allows our guests to be here. So it's not crowded at all. You can take a self-guided tour up to the glacier. The U.S. Forestry Service person is there to kind of explore with you, tell you about the flora and fauna of the area. It's also a great place for activities as well. If you wanted to go float on a float trip or river trip, you can do that here, get closer to the glaciers, as well as be adventurous and start climbing the glaciers themselves. So there's a lot of different activities here at Spencer Glacier. So moving from our southern trains, we're going to go into the rugged interior of Alaska aboard our Denali Star train. And this is an introduction of our 3rd and 4th summer trains. It's such a popular train and destination in Alaska that we need 2 of them. So on the map key on the right, you'll notice there's a northbound train leaving at 8:15 out of Fairbanks, and then also, or a southbound train, and then a northbound train from Anchorage at 8:15. So they're just bypassing each other along this route. So we stop at all these major destinations, with the big highlight being Denali National Park. It's a beautiful, beautiful train ride for sure. If we're heading north from Anchorage, our first stop will be Talkeetna. Talkeetna is a wonderful little quaint town. Talkeetna is a native word meaning river of plenty. And as a longtime Alaskan, I think Talkeetna has the most incredible view of Denali and the entire Alaska range. Just beautiful area. Lots of things to see and do here. You can walk through the downtown streets, lots of different hotel accommodations, lots of different tour opportunities here as well. It's a fun place to visit. It's only 60 miles from the base of Denali. So flight scene is Very, very popular to do here. And I highly recommend if you're doing any flight seeing on land to do it out of the town of Talkeetna. It's a great experience. Leaving Talkeetna, we're going to head north up to Denali. This is our Hurricane Gulch Bridge. It's our longest train bridge and our highest on our track bed. Beautiful scenery there. We'll get you into Denali just a little after 3 o'clock. We always recommend that people stay at least 2 to 3 nights here in Denali. There's a lot to see and do. The visitor center is incredible. There's a science center that's really interesting as well. Most people will venture into the park here aboard a bus. It's narrated, it's guided, it's going to get you into the heart of the park, more opportunities for wildlife, and get you those amazing shots of Denali. Lots of other different activities here, from whitewater rafting. Golf is very popular to do here under the midnight sun. So yeah, definitely a place you want to spend more than just a quick day, and lots of beautiful accommodations here as well. Leaving Denali, we're going to head north up to Fairbanks. This is Denali Canyon, great views with Mother Nature and wildlife spotted throughout here. We get you into the town of Fairbanks just about 8 o'clock at night. So much to do and see here. It's called our Golden Heart City because it's located right in the heart of our state, and it's where gold was first discovered. There's a ton of different amazing tours to experience, like the Riverboat Discovery. If you're into the, wanting to know a little bit more about the Trans-Alaska oil pipeline, the pipeline goes right through this city. And it's also the gateway to the far north. So these are adventures going up to the Arctic Circle, or if you're fascinated with polar bears, there's polar bear adventures further north. So Fairbanks is a good place to go up into the northern part of our state. So when you book with us, you can book just the train, or we have created special summer packages. And these are all available on our website at alaskarailroad.com. We have packages range from 10 days to 2 days to 3 days. We can even customize wherever you would like to be picked up. If you want to be picked up from a cruise ship, if you want to be picked up at the airport, we can kind of create everything for you. Our packages include the rail, the hotel accommodations, as well as day tour excursions. So consider those if you're coming up. We are a year-round transportation, so we travel through all seasons. The fall season is probably hands down my favorite time of year with the colors. It's a gorgeous time. Winter is also very, very popular in our state. Beautiful scenery. It's just pretty much a winter wonderland up here. It's a great time to come and visit. A lot of people come up here for the Aurora Borealis, hence the name of our winter train called the Aurora Winter Train. And this is the same route that our Denali Star takes between Anchorage and Fairbanks, our two largest cities, with stops in between. Anything south of Anchorage in the winter months is going to create, there's lots of avalanches, let's say. We get a lot of heavy snowfall down here in South Central. So Northern Lights are a big draw. Seeing Mount Denali is a beautiful thing as well. Lots of different winter activities here. We also have created several winter packages, just like our summer packages, for just quick overnight getaways to 3-4 day adventures. So lots of things to do during the winter months as well. So when you come up to Alaska, not everybody we encounter comes up with luggage. Some people come up with a backpack. So we have 2 different types of rail car services for every type of budget you can imagine. The first one I'll introduce you to is our Adventure Class service. These are our single level rail cars. They're located about mid to the back end of our train. Really roomy, comfortable, reclining seats. The beauty of the train is you don't have to stay in your seat. You can walk about through all the rail cars, big windows. We also have what we call Vista Dome adventure car seating, where you would just go up a staircase up to a Vista Dome. It's open seating. You can take some pictures and then head back down to your seat. So you're not idle on the train. That's the beauty of it. You can get up and move about the cabin. The Adventure Class are connected by a wilderness cafe or bistro for grab and go foods. You can come down here, grab an Alaskan beer and a sandwich, take it back to your seat, or you can enjoy it right here in these rail cars. Our second service is our premium all-inclusive service, and these are our Gold Star cars. These are the double-decker dome cars where you sit up top with beautiful views above tree line. You've got a bartender at your beck and call. And then we have breakfast, lunch, or dinner, depending on what train leg you're on, 5-star meals, everything's included. An additional feature to our Gold Star cars that's really popular is the second level viewing platform. There's only 6 rail cars in the entire world where you can walk from your seat with your beverage or your camera and walk out into a second level viewing platform. And so this is great for getting that fresh Alaskan air, sort of amazing pictures above tree line. So depending on what your interest level is, if you like photography or you just want to get out and really get that Alaskan fresh air, this is a great place to do that on the Gold Star cars. All of our staff, we're all Alaskans. We love our state. We're very proud of it. Like I said, we'll narrate everything that you're seeing along the tracks. Even our engineers are looking out for you as well. They're of course driving the trains, but they're also looking out for wildlife. So if they spot a grizzly bear, they'll radio back to our team and let you know that, hey, there's a grizzly bear and some cubs, or a moose. So there's a great team on board, and you'll feel that excitement, and you'll get to know Alaskans a little better, because we love to share what it's like living here year round and why we do live here. So with that, I just want to say thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your interest in our great state of Alaska, and we hope to see you in Alaska one of these days. Come visit us.
Okay, so now it is time for a little Q&A. Maria, do you have some questions? Because I know I've got some here, and then we've got some that are popping up in the Q&A box.
I do. When is the best time for whale watching?
Sure, I can take that one. So the first whales start migrating back in March. So we get the gray whales that come right around mid-March. And then from there, we just kind of build on it. So June, July, August is going to be, even into September, really great times to come see the whales. And again, like each month has something different. Like, so at the beginning, you're going to get that, sometimes that bubble net feeding, because they're really eating the hooligan and staying close to the shore, where a little bit later, they're now going to be flipping up their tails and diving deep. So a little different each month here, but the whales are here pretty much from March through September.
Great. Can you pan for gold in Alaska?
Trace?
Do you want me to take that one?
Sure.
Sure, you can pan for gold in Alaska. Gold was first discovered up in Fairbanks, but it's sporadic all around the state. That was pretty much the big drive for Alaska back in the day, is the draw of the gold, and that's why the railroad was built, is to get that mineral out to market. So there are so many different gold vendors out there in Fairbanks, in Anchorage, Denali, just all along the rail belt, as well as in the city limits as well. So I would just, look online, look at our Visit Anchorage website, and lots of different vendors offer that service. And it's so exciting to find even a little flake is exciting. So most of the vendors have like little lockets that you can take your flakes or your gold nugget, whatever you find, you can stick it in a locket right then and there. So it is a very, very popular excursion to experience.
And since Tia, you said you're a native, and Tracy, I'm sorry, I missed if you were a native. I know you said you've been there a long time. Do you have any favorite off the beaten path things that people should see when they come to Alaska?
Oh,
I know.
oh gosh, that is such a loaded question, right? Kind of, I think one of the little hidden treasures that a lot of people don't go to here in Anchorage, I want to say. There, we have a fish hatchery here, actually, in just down the street from Tracy at the depot, where you can actually see the whole cycle of a salmon. So if you're big into fishing and you kind of want to see, and this is where we stock a lot of our lakes during the summer too, but you see the whole cycle from when they start to grow and how they move them through the different sections. The hatchery is really cool, and it's free to go in and walk around. And again, it's on that Ship Creek, so then you can go actually go fish one. But also like just getting outside here. I mean, it's taking the time to breathe in our fresh air and get on one of our trails, whether you just want to walk down from downtown Anchorage and sit on a bench and watch the sunset, or watch the eagles flying over, or look for a moose. We have so many great options here to really enjoy the outdoors. So how about you, Trace?
I would definitely agree with all of those. Getting out into the great outdoors is the big reason we live here. My kids and I and husband, we love going out on the trails, biking, hiking, fishing. We really enjoy Mother Nature. We love glaciers. They're just fascinating. Just if you have an opportunity to even drink the water from a glacier is exciting, just to touch a glacier. Chunk is fun. There's just so much to see and do here. The gold panning's fun. It's always a good time. Flight scene is incredible. If you have an opportunity to even land on a mountainside, make a snow angel in the snow in July, it's exciting. I could go on and on. There's a lot to do here.
So that's so true. And that's the one thing we hear over and over again, like when people come to Alaska, it's just kind of, it's almost, it takes their breath away, right? It's more than they expected, because pictures do it one thing, but once to actually, see it and experience it, it makes people cry. It makes people laugh, makes people cry for joy, of course. And it just really, I've heard some amazing stories from people.
And I have one more that came in on my end. Favorite restaurant?
Oh.
They're really putting you on the spot today.
I know,
Yeah.
gosh.
In Anchorage, I would have to say, hands down, probably Moose's Tooth. They have the best pizzas on the planet. Great drinks, brews. They are amazing. We have quite an eclectic mix of restaurants in Anchorage, from Thai to Vietnamese to Mexican. There are so many favorites here in town. Downtown, I would probably say my favorite for breakfast would be Snow City Cafe. Everything is freshly made, organic, just delicious. Glacier Brew House is a fun place to be in. Lots of great salmon dishes there. So there's too many to list, but they're all within driving or walking distance, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw in Club Paris too. It's been here since
Oh, that's
the
a good.
70s
That's
too,
downtown Anchorage.
and it hasn't changed since the 70s. So you kind of step back in time when you get there, but their food is, you still get the little baskets of crackers. I don't know if you remember, like when you ordered a salad, you got that little basket of crackers that had like, the wafers in it and those little breadsticks in it. They still put those out. So kind of a cool little iconic place here.
Okay, and I apologize, one more just came in. You guys mentioned culture. So what, you mentioned the store that was in downtown Anchorage. If somebody wanted to get a little bit more immersive in culture, what kinds of things can they do?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Our Alaska Native Heritage Center is fantastic for that. Because like I said, from our 5 different regions, they have a village site that you walk around and you meet the people from those different regions that live in the housing today and how they still live off the land. And then they'll actually can teach you how to flay a fish, a salmon, or they'll show you how they're making their wares, and then they do different performances on their gathering stage. So you can see them do their winter games, or you can see how they dance and how they tell stories, and they invite you up to go, dance with them, or they'll do just storytelling. I don't know if they're going to have it this summer, but maybe in 2021 they have, where you used to be able to sit with the elders and have tea with them. So really a great place. Also out in Eklutna, the Eklutna village out there also does a lot of interactions and programs with the natives as well.
Great, thank you. Susan, that's all my questions.
Okay, I've got a few here. Well, first one, I've got to ask my question. For anybody who doesn't know, Talkeetna used to have a mayor who passed away.
There's a new mayor.
There's
There's a new mayor in town.
There's a new mayor. There's a new mayor in town. And
So for people who don't know, can you just like take a few seconds and explain the mayor of Talkeetna?
Go ahead, Trace.
Okay. So Talkeetna is a very quaint, quirky town, full of interesting Alaskans who are into nature, into small crowds. So there's a different group of people there. You live there for a reason. And most of the people who live there want to get away from big city living, big politics. And so when an election came in, a lot of people, of course, were trying to be elected.
Yep.
Oh,
Did she freeze?
looks like it.
Tracy, you froze on us. But yeah, anyways, there's a story, so the mayor is
Of
Oh, she's back.
she's back.
a cat. It's always been a cat. It's always been a cat.
Yep.
And the new mayor is now is Denali. The name is Denali.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
Cool, okay.
and that's where I'm heading this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. I love Talkeetna.
Okay, so Irma has a question, and I don't know that this can really be answered, but when is the best time to visit Alaska? I think it boils down to what do you want to do while you're there, but
That truly is exactly what it is, right? So we can almost break down each month on what's happening, right? So just real quick, like May right now, by mid-May, we're getting to that full bloom. Everything's so green. The baby animals are being born, so it's easy to see a lot of wildlife during this time. It's one of our shoulder seasons, so you can save a little bit more money. June, July, August, that is peak season. June, you're going to get the most sunlight because that's when summer solstice happens. Lots of fairs, festivals going on. July is our peak for bear viewing and fishing. And then you get into August, and that's when our state fair happens. And then, like Tracy mentioned earlier, I think we both have the same favorite month, September. September, we're starting to get into that fall. The changing of the colors is just spectacular here. And then the Northern Lights, the chance to see the Northern Lights start happening. So, and then you go into February and March, my favorite two for winter time, because you have our Furonde Festival going on that leads into the Iditarod, which is just so fun. And we kind of slow down a little bit more in the winter time, and you kind of get more of that authentic feel of Alaska. So pick your month, pick your wish list.
Yeah, I echo everything Tia said. My favorite time there, I mentioned it earlier, is the fall season, just because the colors, they just light up the landscape. It's just so beautiful. And it seems like the wildlife are out more just because of the cooler temperatures. You're slowly moving into, coldness of fall, the crispness of fall, and then into winter. So it seems like a lot more wildlife are out. And like Tia said, you have those darker evenings. So there's an opportunity for Northern Lights. And both Tia and I live in Anchorage, and we see Northern Lights out our backyard. So, you don't have to be in a certain location in the state to see Northern Lights. But the further you get out from city limits, you'll see them. So it's just a pretty time of year. And when you're on the train and you're going through just these amazing landscapes and mountains and valleys and glaciers, just the brightness of the colors is really intense. So.
okay, another question you had, I think Tia mentioned gray whales, and I think Tracy had mentioned beluga. But what are the other, types of whales that can be seen when whale watching?
Oh, we have humpback whales, we have fin whales, minke whales, doll porpoises,
Orcas?
orcas.
Yeah.
It's probably our most common
Yes, we
one.
do.
Like, oh
We
yeah,
do
the
have
orcas.
yeah, we do have the orca whales. And where I've seen the most beluga whales is along Turnagain Arm, just outside of Anchorage as you're heading down into Seward. And I've seen orcas in there as well. So there's some beauty in every bit of water in Alaska.
Okay, and then let's see, we've got a question. Okay, Rodney is all about the Alaskan king crab. And wants to know, where is the best place to get king crab?
Ooh, well, most all of our restaurants serve it here in Anchorage, so it's pretty hard not to find some type of crab on the list. Golly, like all the restaurants we mentioned have it.
Yes.
I'm not sure about Moose's Tooth. I'm not sure if they put it on pizzas. I don't think I've seen that on pizza.
I
But
haven't
all
seen
those
that one on.
I know that's the one thing I don't think I've seen. But all those other ones we mentioned have crab legs. So it just depends. Like on at a finer restaurant, they're going to actually, you know, cut them open and lay them out for you. At some of more what are more local, like dive type restaurants, are going to make you work for it, where you have to cut open and, you know, dip it in your own butter type stuff. So again, it kind of depends on what kind of atmosphere and how you want to eat those crab legs, whether you want to fine dining or to work for it a little bit.
Okay. Let's see, here's a question. Somebody wants to know, where's the best place to view bald eagles?
Oh. I would say all along Turnagain Arm, the eagles are prevalent. There are certain destination stops in a lot of our ports where the eagles are just assembling themselves. Homer, Alaska, is a very well-known eagle destination port. And that's about a 4-hour drive outside of Anchorage, south on the Kenai Peninsula. It's a great place for viewing eagles, but they're everywhere. We have them in Anchorage. I just have a couple soar over across when I was watering the yard this morning. So they're everywhere.
They truly are. I just live north of Anchorage in a town called Eagle River, and my backyard is to a creek, and I have eagles in my backyard, so I have to watch my cat, make sure she doesn't go out on certain times. But they really are flying. They're really everywhere. I see them every day here.
Okay, and you mentioned skiing in Alaska, and I think you mentioned specifically in Girdwood at Alyeska.
Correct.
So the train doesn't run during the winter southbound. So how's the best way to get to Girdwood for skiing, and are there any other locations around Anchorage to ski?
Sure, great question.
Mm-hmm.
So Alyeska is our main ski resort. We do have another like a smaller ski hill called Hilltop here in Anchorage. So depending on your level of skiing, you can start at Hilltop in Anchorage here, which is kind of on our hillside. We do have Arctic Valley, but that is more for the extreme type skiers that kind of backpack and take their own skis up top. But they have a tubing hill for those that have kids. Arctic Valley is great. But to get to Alyeska Resort, again, it's about 35 minutes north, and we do have local shuttles that'll take you out there. Uber will take you out there too. It's a little more expensive than taking one of the book shuttles that they have, or you can rent a car. Like I said, our highways are easy to drive. You just, take your time, especially in the winter time. They plow them constantly. So don't be afraid to maybe rent a car and do it on your own.
And I should say Alyeska is only about an hour's drive away, if that. It's very, very close.
Okay. And then what's the best time to watch the bears with the salmon fishing?
July.
July?
July is that is the iconic, where if you look on their webcam, you'll get 17 bears at the falls, there's others surrounding it. They'll start coming in, of course, they're going to follow that salmon run. So late June, they'll start opening up, full on July. Sometimes they'll go a little bit into August. You can still see bears May through September, but like in May, they're going to be digging for clams and eating the grass, where later June, July, beginning of August, they're really diving into that salmon, because that's when the salmon runs are really flowing here.
Okay. I don't think we have any other questions. Do you see any other questions, Maria?
No, but I do have one myself.
Okay.
For somebody who's flying into Anchorage and then planning to take the train to do something else, do you need a car to get around Anchorage?
No, you don't actually. We have Uber and Lyft. We have taxis. Most of like the Midtown hotels I was mentioning, a lot of them have shuttles that'll pick you up from the airport, take you to your hotel. They have certain spots that they'll take you around to. But the good thing to know is that they always take you to downtown, to our Log Cabin Visitor Information Center on 4th and F. And then from there, that is it's called F Street Shuttle. So from there, they drop you off there, and all the day tours take off from there. The shuttles to the zoo, to the Alaska Native Heritage Center, to the museum, to the Ulu factory, all happen right there. So it's easy to get around without renting a car.
And we also have a great bus system in our city as well.
Yes.
You can pretty much rent bicycles on every corner in the summer months. There's a really great tour downtown, the trolley tour. And they're always on 4th Avenue, picking people up on their trolleys, dropping them off in different destinations along the tours. It's a very walkable town, and it's beautiful architecture and just scenery, people, different shopping, reindeer hot dogs. There's lots to see and do downtown.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, that is it for our questions. I want to thank Tracy and Tia for taking the time to take us on a virtual vacation to Alaska today. If you have any questions about Alaska, especially for anybody who watches this as a recorded webinar and not watching it live, you can reach out to any of the 4 of us. That would be Maria, myself, Barbara, or Gail, and ask us our questions. If we don't have the answers, of course, we can contact Tia and Tracy directly and get the answers for you. And when you're ready to actually visit Alaska, whether that's this summer or next summer, whether it's by cruise or just flying in and doing a land package, reach out and let us know, and we'd be more than happy to help you, visit the 49th state of the U.S. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you in Anchorage.
In Alaska.
Bye-bye.
Bye.